Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is If. I know nearly nothing about this film. I know there's some segments in black and white, and there's like something here to do with like the British class system. I imagine it's an English film. This was a patron request. Over on the Patreon, on the diamond tier, the top tier, once a month you get to choose a movie for me to react to, and that was a patron's choice here, so it's an almost completely blind reaction from me. So yeah, let's just jump right in. It looks like kind of private school, maybe a boarding school. But it's like moving day or something, yeah. What are they doing? Don't usually see a teacher telling the students to run in the corridors.
Excuse me, I can't see my name. I'm new.
You don't speak to us. You're a scum, aren't you?
Of course, yeah. A few power dynamics with what year you're in.
And what's those eggs? Markland, warm a lavatory seat for me. I'll be ready in 3 minutes.
Okay, well, great task to have.
Books and magazines here. Food in the locker. Pin-ups over here. Okay?
Pin-ups?
You need a haircut.
Mysterious figure carrying that case. Yeah, was that? Did they have some? Yeah,
God.
hiding the face.
Peanuts has come back with a bloody ray gun. It's a bloody ray gun.
God, Stephens, you're so ignorant. Anyone can see it.
Stephens.
Clear your face up in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I was thinking Stephens. He seems to be like the head honcho here, but it's a bit insecurity because of his acne and stuff, being a teenager.
Travis! Sorry, Denson.
Oh, so he called him. Yeah, didn't call him sir, just Denson. So, like, I saw this was labelled as a satire. Like, is it just a bit of an inversion of what the school system is? They don't want to be called sir, they're telling them to run. It's just like, some of the stuff, I'm just like, oh, is that just private school stuff? Oh, he's got a stash. That's what he was hiding. Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, that could just be these outdated private school traditions. Some of them seemed kind of believable.
What did you grow up for?
To hide my sins.
So Travis and Knightley are friends. Both kind of outcasts there, aren't they? Being bullied by Stephens.
You know what I did this summer? Built a hut in the woods.
Is that like that poster, a kind of them looking up to masculinity like that?
Work, play. But don't mix the two. Perhaps some of you new boys are a little bewildered by the rapid success.
Must be very intimidating coming there just starting, you know. Yeah, a lot of these like private boarding schools have lots of weird traditions and cultures.
Last summer, this house got itself a reputation for being disgustingly slack.
Oh yeah, is it multiple houses within one school, so they've got a bit of a bad reputation?
House at its winter term. The lock-up is at 5 p.m. Anyone leaving the house after that time...
Yeah, it's a bit different when it's like a boarding kind of situation like they've got here with houses. When I was in school with houses, it's just kind of, you were split into 5 different groups for sport activities and stuff. It gave you, I don't know, just like a team to kind of be a part of.
Eye disease. Ringworm. BD. Eye disease. BD. No. Confirmation.
What? Okay. Analysing them, yeah.
Fretzer hasn't got elephantiasis, he's just a fat Jew.
Watch it, Spotty.
Like Travis putting him in his place a bit.
Dormitory inspection in 3 minutes!
Oh yeah, and now suddenly in black and white. Doesn't seem to signify anything, the black and white. It's not like this is a flashback or anything. God, I'd hate to be in a situation like that. You know, just if someone snores, what'd you do? Everyone hates you if you're a snorer.
Good evening.
But yeah, look how timid Stevens is when he's met with someone higher up than him.
Your hair's still long. Get it cut.
What was he supposed to do? That was like earlier today.
One night we're going to massacre you, Stephens. I'll do you for free.
Townside windows and skylights open tonight.
Bit of a regime they've got going, isn't it? Very lights out this time, you know, silence, no talking. But I guess when you're dealing with teenage boys, you do need some of that control over them. Or tied to a church too. Makes sense. Look at the architecture though. Imagine being surrounded by that. My school looked nothing like that. Complete opposite. Demountables, all that, you know. I'm sure a lot of people who studied in England know that. Temporary classrooms that become permanent.
Headmaster, may the Dramatic Society use your study for their Monday readings?
Well, I'll have to come back to you on that one, Kemp.
So this is the actual headmaster. Kemp is the head of their house, college house.
Your holiday essays. Graves. Charming. Keating.
Just chucks at him, yeah. It's a bit of a personality.
Don't you find this view of history facile? No?
The classic no response from the room. That always happens. And it is never not that people don't have a view. It's just the way they've worded the question or being too shy and awkward to answer.
Of course, some of our customs are silly. You could say we were middle class.
What's he saying? Was he saying that they were middle class here? I don't know about that.
You do realise it's not just a matter of knowing the answers, it's how you say it.
One word wrong and you fail the whole test.
And we get beaten.
Yeah, it's just that unnecessary cruelty of it as well. You can't get the answers right. You have to say the answers right. It's how you say things as well. Yeah, Travis looking up to war heroes, admiring soldiers. Looked like the headmaster was saying, you know, they do train a lot of soldiers, or people, you know, people at the school do go on to become soldiers. Is that Jute there bullying there? Are they just still trying to prepare him for that test, or did he get the test wrong?
What's the matter, Denson? Aren't you keen?
Oh, Denson's not like the rest of us. He's got...
Anyway, this homosexual flirtatiousness, so adolescent.
Oh, maybe he doesn't like all of the fake homoerotic flirting, because if he was gay, I would just cut to the next scene. I thought they were gonna like test him or something.
Phillips, you wanted. Roundtree.
Hey, that one's Phillips. Yeah, don't see any symbolism in the black and white yet. Like for there, I could have maybe interpreted it as the kind of upper and lower, but we had that teacher coming in new.
Aries, that's Mick. No matter how strong the urge, resist any temptation to go into battle this month.
It seems like he wants to go to battle.
There's no such thing as a wrong war. Violence and revolution are the only pure acts.
Yeah, he seems to glorify war and violence, obviously with all his posters and stuff.
War is the last possible creative act.
He's been reading too much. He hasn't seen real war. Oh.
Your hair's too long, all of you. You'll have a 2-minute cold shower tomorrow morning.
Punishing them for just having long hair.
You're a degenerate, Travis.
There is like a bit of him rebelling against the kind of system here that I do like. He does have a bit of a charm, but then there is a bit I worry about this glorification of violence and war. Well, yeah, the people that are scumming for them, they just do everything for them.
Stay there till I get back.
Yeah, it was like he's going to rebel against Denson. Denson kind of represents what the school is, this cruel punishment for just having long hair.
Small push-up. Good. Jude, come on. Come on, Jude.
So small, it's quite an effort to jump up there.
All right.
I mean, it didn't look like Jude wasn't trying. So, earlier on, I just wasn't exactly sure what was happening. They got this guy, I'm forgetting the name, to scum for Denson after Denson made the jokes about the homoerotic jokes. Did they get him to scum because they knew this younger guy was gay? It's a joke. Because, I mean, this obviously here, this is the romance, the subtitle of this chapter as well. He's got a crush on Wallace.
Back to the house. Up, on your toes. Up. Come on, Philip.
Phillips, it was Phillips.
England falls. Who dies if England lives?
Oh, it's still going. Okay, yeah. Outside. Is that a peace sign behind them as well? Oh, constantly backed into a corner, yeah.
Blood. Real blood.
It seemed he was always excited by the real blood. Rather than everything being theory here at school, maybe. He wants a bit of that action and adventure and excitement.
Cheering at college matches has degenerated completely. The House will attend the match this afternoon and cheer. Loudly.
Malicious compliance, maybe they'll cheer too much now. Or start chanting the wrong things. Yeah, our schoolhouses were never that serious. We had the houses for our sports day and things, and you'd earn like points throughout the year, and there'd be like a winner who got the most points, but no one ever took it as seriously as that. Oh, I didn't think you'd be able to just take a ride on it. I didn't think it'd be full. You can just steal it so easily if you wanted to. Don't know if he will. I think he's just messing about. Or maybe he is. They're off. I mean, if they get caught and it's somehow tied to the school, they're going to get a real bollocking. Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't have a number plate or anything. No way to track it down. Really? Yeah, well deserved. Oh. Yeah, like he was listening to earlier, the kind of African... Yeah, maybe she likes a little bit of rebellion. Okay. That wasn't where I thought this was going, yeah. That was all in his head. Oh, discipline. Okay. Doesn't sounds ominous.
At the back.
Yeah, it's one thing for him to be caught with cigarettes, but giving them to Phillips, who's younger as well.
It's the most horrible way way to die.
Being flayed alive.
Cancer's worse. My mother took 6 months.
Just awkward silence, no response to that. Classic teenage boys never knowing how to respond or console someone like that.
We'll have to deal firmly with it in certain instances. It may be necessary to make a few examples.
What are they going to make examples of? It sounds like it's going to be our big three: Travis, Knightley, and Wallace.
I imagine you know why you're here.
No?
For being a nuisance.
Yeah, it's just in general they're a nuisance.
You know exactly what I mean.
Attitude.
And we've decided to beat you for it.
Yeah, they don't even have proof of anything specific they've done wrong.
And expect us to lick your frigid fingers for the rest of your frigid life. Go down to the gym. Wait outside.
Oh, what's gonna... I feel like it might fight back. I don't know. It's also formal as well. Well, it is kind of school sanctioned beating as well, isn't it? They knew what was going to happen. The head of the house. The thing is, Travis's like comments wasn't even that bad. Didn't even swear or anything. He just said, "I hate you." There's still a level of civility to it. I feel like it's going to be worse for Travis, right? Yeah, they all kind of seem okay with it, though. I thought maybe they'd start blaming Travis for getting him in trouble or something.
Blood. Yeah, blood.
Kind of... Yeah, they were smiling. It's almost a badge of honour. And then them having to say thank you in return as well. Yeah, he's going to take a run up. I mean, to be honest, when they said we're going to give you a beating, I thought it might be worse than this. Just a spank on the bottom. No, they're not coming out of it with a black eye, you know.
Wait till you're told.
Yeah, he's getting far more. Yeah, I didn't think it would just be like whipping them with these sticks. I thought it would be like, you know, get them on the floor and just start kicking. Of course, it's much more civilized. A kind of allowed violence. Yeah, they made an example of everyone can hear. Keeping his composure. He can't show weakness, really. I feel like he wants to still... Oh no, he's crying. I thought he'd want to kind of still show strength just to spite them.
Thank you, Roundtree. Thank you.
Or even scare them if he was still jolly after all of that. Resistance, yeah, there we go. I think they're going to start lashing back. The way the whips were standing there in that last scene, it was almost like a boss and the mini bosses or something, you know?
Trust me?
Of course.
When are we going to do it?
Yeah, they're up to something.
One man can change the world with a bullet in the right place. Real bullets.
Oh, damn. What is he going to do with them? I mean, I was thinking you can change the world with one bullet. Yeah, but there's plenty of other ways you can change the world too. Yeah, if it was like the night before war or something. Okay.
Among all those millions of stars, there's another planet where they speak English.
Oh. Giving him a bullet. Part of the rebellion? I mean, he's got these bullets, but he doesn't have... He had that kind of like dart gun, but he doesn't have a proper gun, does he? Oh, really? It's her. Don't know how much of what we see with her is true. Like, obviously, there's the bit where they were both being tigers and then they were naked, which I don't think was really happening. It was in his imagination. Maybe that was him just, you know, imagining a girl before going to war. Like, you go to war and coming back to your girl, you know? He's got something to come back to. Yeah, didn't so to all be in their cadet uniforms, really. It's like they're going to war. Okay, this is very random. Her walking around naked. Wife to the head of the house. Oh, they've got their real bullets now, so will their real bullets work on these?
Stop! What are you doing? It's awful. It's the yell that counts. Everybody back.
Do it again. Attack again. You know, it is this kind of like play war that they're doing here, but this can still be dangerous. There are some actual explosions there.
Get down! Get down!
And they don't even care.
You're all dead. I've won.
What is the plan here? Who are they aiming for? The teachers or the 4 boys or?
D section over here. This is an order. Put your rifles down. Get over to the TQ.
The 4 prefects? Oh, nice. These aren't the real bullets yet, are they? I don't think so.
Come on, hand them over.
That'll still do some damage if they're like BB bullets. Yeah. Oh. All of that, you just kind of, you know, how he was, the Reverend, who was like acting himself up, being this kind of general, or he was squirming there.
Reverend Woods might have been quite badly hurt. Do you realize that?
I think that was the intention. What? There are some very random, absurd moments in this.
The fees here are at present £643 per annum. It is the salary, for instance, of the average trainee supermarket manager.
So it's a cheaper school than others, but still, I'll need to kind of look at what that is in modern day.
Those who are given most also have most to give.
The entire salary of one person is a lot, though, either way. They've just been tasked with clearing this out then. Nice, would make a good little base hidden away. Ooh. Yeah, it's been stored in jars. A fetus. Oh, and we see her. What's the significance of that? Ah, more weapons. Wow, yeah. Now they've got something to use, a way to use their bullets. If those other ones were just like airsoft ones. Yeah, the headmaster's kind of always given them a route to their own rebellion.
My Lord Bishop, General Denison, my lords, ladies, and gentlemen.
Oh, General Denison, related to the Denison we've seen.
There can be few places where tradition is examined with such a critical eye as this college. A constant self-appraisal is going on.
Is it? Is it really?
You are privileged. Now, for heaven's sake, don't get me wrong. There is nothing the matter with privilege.
A lot of people need to hear that when you talk about types of privilege.
Tradition. If we look around us at the world today,
Oh, smoke. Yeah.
confusion,
Well, they started. I was hearing the coughing. I thought it was like someone disrupting with the coughing, but yeah, little smoke grenade.
and back here in college today,
Or starting a fire from underneath them. Yeah, that's where they were, wasn't it? It was under there.
reliance, service, self-sacrifice, a tradition of college, and it's up to all of us if we are sure.
He's still going, yeah. I mean, there were all of those weapons down there. Did they get them out before the fire, or are they just going to start going off? And those are the actual, they're just killing people? Those are the actual weapons? Here, I guess, start a fire, they all flee into here. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Yeah, I wanted to see how he actually reacted, because, you know, he was talking about women and children first, if he would stand up to that. Obviously, he's like a general or something. Oh, what? Okay. Yeah, they're all fighting back.
Listen to reason and trust me! Trust me!
Oh, take out the leader. Yeah, wow. There's no way they get out of this, what they're up against here. We're planning to just go out in a blaze of glory? Wow. The Crusaders, they call. Okay. Oh, she's just called the girl. Okay, so that was If. At the start of the movie, I didn't really know what to make of this. Obviously, I was almost completely blind going in. But as the story unraveled, I started to understand it more and more and understand what it was going for. I think when it released, it was probably a lot more radical than it is now in terms of its kind of anti-establishment message. And, you know, there's things here that in 68 I can see being really radical and maybe even garner some controversy around this film when it came out. You know, we had General Denson talking about tradition and the value of tradition and how that's all breaking down. And then I think, well, actually, this was late 60s going into the 70s and the 80s where we got like hippie movements. So it does make sense. This kind of theme talking about the breakdown of tradition, even though that always feels like one of these things that is a constant throughout all time. It's like, oh, the youngsters today, they don't value tradition, they don't recognize tradition. It seems to be a recurring thing, you know, all kids are addicted to their phones, no kids are addicted to this, to that, and it's causing them to be unsocial, and they're not going to get anywhere in life, and they're all lazy, you know. That's always said about the younger generations, but it makes sense there as well, talking about the lack of tradition kind of going into the 70s, you know. And it's funny, this film showing this kind of authoritarian regime. There's this upper and this lower, but they're all in a public school, in a private school. I've been saying private for a lot of the video. It's just an Americanism. We call private schools in the UK public schools. So if I'm using them interchangeably, that's why they're at this public school and they're, you know, they're being paid a whole person's salary to be there for a year. I did the maths and it was about 15k today, which is a lot of money. But then they also call themselves middle class, which I don't know about that. But anyway, it's funny to have this like almost class-based structure inside a private school, inside a public school, where they all are really upper class. Of course, you know, intersectionally, there is plenty of discrimination that happens in upper classes as well, you know, the kind of micro classes within the upper class, but also, you know, I did notice there were Black and Asian students at this school as well who would face racism there most probably. So, you know, being upper class doesn't rid you of all discrimination, does it? But I think it also reminds me of this kind of criticism you see at the moment of protests and people saying, oh, why are all of these people protesting all like white middle class people? But it's actually just kind of the case that these are the people who have the time to protest, because others, you know, especially if they're protesting something to do with workers' rights, there's people who can't afford to protest because they are working and they can't afford to go to a protest, or a protest is happening while they are working. It's like, it is also a good thing for people to be able to kind of use their privilege to stand up for what they think is right and to stand up for other people who aren't as privileged. It's a great way to use your privilege that you have. And then you have like Travis, who you know, eventually resorts to violence, but it definitely feels like the film is a critique on authoritarianism, on violence, on that whole kind of regime that they had there at the school. You know, it's kind of a metaphor for lots of things in life. But it feels like for Travis, it's like a situation where violence is the only language he knows in a way. But also I do think, you know, what happens at the end there, what pushes him to the end there, people would frame that as, you know, the news might frame that as a kind of unprompted attack. But actually, it was almost like an act of resistance, because he has had violence put onto him as well. It's not a completely random attack, you know. We obviously had the beatings they all took. And I definitely think this plays a bit differently nowadays, after we've had plenty of shootings in similar environments. I don't know if I want to say the full phrase just because of YouTube censorship and monetization and stuff. We've had that happen in similar locations, especially in the US. I wonder, it obviously plays a bit different nowadays, and you can almost see this as a warning sign on how someone could be pushed to do this, how they can be outcast and they can be bullied and they can be discriminated against in some ways, and it can push people to do horrible things. And there's also this bit with the whips, they call them in this film. I've never heard that term before this, actually. Usually I just refer to them as like prefects. How the whips are almost on this power trip. And usually when a character's like on a power trip, abusing their power, that's one thing that really infuriates me. But here, for some reason, they didn't as much, maybe just because they're, you know, a part of this bigger system and they aren't right at the top. But that's kind of the point I wanted to make here, of like, they have a certain amount of power. They have the power over some of the other students, but they're not at the top. And the top almost just lets them get away with things because it's in their best interest. But then maybe the top could blame it on the whips if things backfired, you know? The head of the school would blame it on bullying by the whips, rather than taking the blame himself when he facilitated this kind of environment where this was allowed to blossom. And yeah, these whips, they have this little bit of power, you know. It's not loads, it's over school kids. It's only power over fellow school kids. They have this tiny bit of power, but it does go to their head, you know. It's how power corrupts, but you only need a little bit of power. It's power over someone else that's like the problem there, isn't it? And I think maybe also their age played a part in, you know, I'm like looking at this, I'm like, yeah, they're like 16, 17, sixth form age, so it's a bit more lenient than when it's a full adult doing something like this, abusing their power. And I wasn't sure with this film like how much to take at face value, because there are some very random, absurd moments. I think the biggest one is when they pull the guy out of the drawer that they had shot earlier on, and he's just kind of there, shakes their hand. It's a very odd moment, but there's other bits in here where I'm just like, yes, it's odd, but it's almost believable in this public school setting, because there are so many strange and backwards traditions. You hear so many stories about like hazing tests at public schools and the big colleges and the big universities, where I'm like, some of this stuff, I'm like, how exaggerated is it really? You probably could have gone even further, and there still probably would be some stuff that I believe as true. And yeah, like another point on these are the type of people that are running our country. Is a very high amount of people that have been to public schools who do go on to become politicians. There are a lot of people in the current government who, you know, were working class and went to state schools, but especially in the Conservative government we previously had, there is a lot of privately educated people there. And there is this kind of culture of this kind of boisterous traditionalism, that there are like these long traditions that do sometimes hold us back. Yeah, there is this kind of personality that comes from private education and then comes into power, comes into government. And I often say the biggest threat to the working person isn't coming from the Middle East, it isn't coming over in small dinghies, it's coming from Eton, where they've been raised in environments like this, where there's power systems and acting in your best interest that carries on into government, you know? It's very much the same crowd. And then I also want to talk a bit about kind of the imagery and, you know, what is and isn't real, because obviously there are some absurder moments, but also like there's like the checking the genitalia. That seems like something that could be true. You know, it's kind of a power move, isn't it? Asserting your power over someone. But then you've got like the moments with the girl, that was just her name in the credits, when they're in the coffee shop and then she's like acting out as a tiger. Like, how much of her was even real? She didn't even have a name or much of a personality. Was that all just in Travis's head? She just kind of randomly shows up when they were clearing out that basement and all of that ammunition and guns were there. She just kind of appeared out of the blue. So I do wonder with her if that's just kind of like his kind of male fantasy about her, and then she's willing to go along with this plot and like die for him almost. But what got me really thinking was, like, at the end we see Michael Travis there with his gun, and then it just cuts to black and says if, and oh, is it almost like imagining what if someone did this, almost this power fantasy of rebelling against the system. If I could rebel against the system, this is what I would do, in a way, using like the metaphor of this being bigger than life, bigger than an actual school, like the setting is here. It's like if I could rebel, it makes it feel like, a fantasy, just because I hadn't really considered the title up until the end there, but when you just suddenly have big on the screen, if, you're like, oh, actually, yeah, it's kind of a what if in a way. How much of it was real? Okay, so I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe so you can keep up to date on all future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.